Welcome back, everybody. It is the Working Brother back at you with another flight. We've got the Soviet-Russian Bear and Drago Bosnic,
hi everyone,
also known as Drago. Welcome.
Welcome.
Hey everyone.
Or I called him once Drago, and I was typing and instead of Drago I got Dragon, Drago the Dragon.
Autocorrect used to do that for me too as well. So Drago
Sorry
Dragon.
for fucking up your autocorrect, guys.
It's okay. I don't use the word dragon that often in my everyday speech. We're here in Microsoft Flight Sim. Hold on, actually, let me get rid of this music because this is the everyday music, and we should put this music, which is the flight music. And put the whole playlist on repeat. Unlike last time. Can you guys hear that? Is that good enough? I think that's loud enough.
Yep.
And then unmute this beautiful engine. Drago, you want to tell us what plane we're in?
That's the twin-engine supersonic Russian shovel known as MiG-29.
Oh yeah.
And, and it was designed in the 1970s, and it was part of the Russian, or the Soviet at the time, high-low mix that was supposed to counter the F-15 and F-16. The other, of course, part of the high-low mix being the SU57. And it was actually one of the best so-called lightweight to medium class of fighters at the time when it was introduced into service. That was like the early 1980s. I think it was 1981 or 2 or something like that. I forgot the actual date. And of course, the Russians were pretty confident that the aircraft would outperform the F-16, which it did. However, in the 1990s, when the country collapsed, the MiG-29 became a very tragic aircraft because it was mostly flown by countries that couldn't really, resist the entire NATO or the political West at the time. So it got this, this reputation of being shot down by American jets. But the point is, as part of the Russian Air Force, it was actually one of the best jets in its class, and it would have actually worked, much better, as it was proven by German Air Force pilots who were flying it in the 1990s when East Germany was united, or let's say annexed, actually, by West Germany.
Annexed,
and they realized, and a lot of also American pilots tried it. They realized that it was actually superior in many respects to the F-16. Also, it had this helmet-mounted display, which was the first for any fighter ever, meaning that wherever the pilot was looking and turning his head, the IR-guided air-to-air missiles would follow and essentially engage the aircraft. So it had this incredible off-board sight capability that no other aircraft had. For instance, the F-22, the one that was developed for the U.S. Air Force, didn't have this capability. It was a very, very advanced aircraft for its time, and even today with the MiG-35, which is the new version of the MiG-29, it still holds quite strong against comparable aircraft of the 4++ and the 5th generation. It was just a very tragic time for the aircraft, but in general it's an amazing jet.
And the MiG-35 the variant. What the fuck, man? Did you just crash us, homie? What?
Yes, I did. That was a fail. That was beautiful. That was hilarious. Don't try this at home, children. This is a serious toy.
Don't crash us this time.
Okay, but I actually wanted to interject.
Don't crash us.
I actually wanted to interject and ask you guys, or actually remind you, Soviet-Russian Bear, that this is that we're here flying. Where are we now? We're in Kaliningrad. Which is Russian Europe, right?
It's a Russian city, Kaliningrad.
And we're flying to Estonia, as requested by you,
Estonia. Oh,
right?
yeah, Estonia. Yeah, it's Estonia. It is a very fast country, so please don't fly too fast over Estonia because it's too small.
This
Well, I
time we
would
won't be.
call it a superpower, man. I think Putin is, supremely worried about Estonia every single day, like because it jeopardizes Russian security all the time.
Yeah,
So big and powerful.
yeah. I mean, if like all 7,000 of Estonian army, maybe if it was 1 or 3,000 Estonians, maybe we still have a chance. But if it's all 7,000 of them, man, we're screwed.
It might be like a week in Kursk, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So this is the Russian enclave in Europe that has zircons and other missiles. We're gonna get some altitude because that's the safest way to fly. When you're up higher. That way you don't have to worry about hitting the ground.
You also forgot about the Russian junk called the Iskander that that is reaching only 96% of its targets. It's really bad. Those 4% really mean a lot. When they tell you fight a country that that it's like mediocre missile misfires or it's not going to hit you like 4% of the time, you're really happy that you're going to fight such a country. So
there's there's also that other Bastion, I think it's called, right? The coastal defense anti-ship missiles that are like zircons for ships, basically.
Yeah.
Well,
Zircon is just another hypersonic shovel of Russia.
It's absolutely useless and pointless.
Absolutely, man. Although I gotta give it to the Russians. They managed to take those German and Chinese washing machines and take the chips out of them. So it kind of works. Like 33% of the time it doesn't because the Ukrainians shoot them down all the time. But but still the shovels, the part of the shovel that's Russian, it's not very good. But the Chinese and the German chips make it a bit better. We just have to, prevent the Russians from acquiring these washing machines, man. I don't know how are they getting them.
It's the Iranians. It's the Iranians and the North Koreans.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Korea, I hear that South Korean automotive companies are returning to Russia, man. So more chips for Russian missiles and for Russian tanks.
Yeah. Like I can't believe how stupid they are. Like why do they want to make money? I mean, it's so stupid.
It's so stupid, man. Yeah.
I mean, Russia is like what 150 million people. Like it's such a small market. Like only losers go and sell cars there. It's better to go in Estonia. It's a much larger, much richer country.
That's why the Germans. That's why the Germans are going back to their roots and they're going to be making tanks instead of cars.
Oh yeah. That's going to end up being very well, just like the last time, like the last
guys,
time.
And IKEA is registering a new brand in Russia. IKEA, Swedish.
What's it called?
I don't know what it's called, but it's going to be like a new brand of IKEA in Russia. Like, why does Sweden does that? Like, don't you know that making money is for fools? It's just sanctions matter, and come on, Sweden, no.
Why are they even focusing on Russia? They should go to Europe. Europe with its flourishing economy. And it's extremely vibrant markets that are not crashing down at all. By the way, you guys mentioned the Bastion system. I just want to mention that you can fire several Russian missile types, including the P-800 Onyx, and also various variants. And also you mentioned the Zircon, and because it can fit in the same naval VLS systems, then it can also be fired by the Bastion. That's an interesting concept that a lot of people are not talking about, that the Russians already have the capability to launch Zircons from land-based platforms. But let's go back to the chips story, because
I'm like seriously risking your guys' lives because I'm flying and drinking coffee, and I'm watching from the recording. I'm not even watching from the game. I should probably get back to the game.
Yeah, don't crash us, homie.
One time is more than enough, huh?
Yeah. Oh,
We ejected.
yo,
This
buy
thing
me a
has
coffee.
ejecting seats.
Yeah, you're drinking coffee and your buy me a coffee has popped up. So buy working brother coffee, guys. Come on.
Yeah, thanks to everyone who's bought a coffee already. There's like 3 or 4 of you in the past 4 months. Every coffee counts. One day soon, I'll probably...
Especially like Serbs, the Serbs love coffee, come on.
That's true.
Yeah.
Are you a
Not
coffee
always.
guy or a
No.
tea guy, Soviet Bear?
Me? I am more of a tea guy, although I
More of a
love
tea
I
guy,
love my
huh?
coffee in the morning.
So 50-50.
Well, I guess most Russians are like tea people mostly, right?
Yeah.
I think it's 50-50 or 60-40. It's actually not that defined in Russia.
Yeah.
But I
Whereas,
don't know where they're getting the coffee because, you know, the sanctions are working and Russia doesn't have the money to import anything, man.
Well, yeah. Even like South America and Africa joined the say.
Yeah, like a lot of the whole world is sanctioning Russia, man. I don't know how it's, you know, managing, and now it's only the 4th economy in the world. Like, such losers, man.
Yeah.
And we're flying at Mach 1.2 almost. I don't know if you can see it in the corner of your screens. You might be able to, you might not. I think
I
it's
see it.
a little bit cut off. I think I need to frame that differently next time. In any case, we are flying over... what is this? Palanga International Airport. And I believe that is Lithuania. Yes. I
Oh
believe that
man,
is
Lithuania. Lithuania is also like a very like powerful country. Like it's so
Very
it's
big, very big. I mean,
very
if you
big and
slow
very
down,
powerful. A lot of people. Yeah.
if you slow down, you can make them seem much bigger than they really are. And you might crash, but you know, I think that's worth it because we need to present the Baltic states in all of their, you know, greatness.
Might.
Let's go up
and
to
they're
like 20,000 feet, and then show how they all fit into one one frame. You can like see all the Baltics in one frame. Over there, near the end over there is one corner of the Baltics on the left, and we'll do a turn soon. And if you pay attention to the top right, you can see on the radar map thing that there's also well, we're at 40,000, but you get the idea. So
I'm surprised
the
that this
Baltics are smaller
Russian
than Crimea,
shuttle is still
basically.
flying.
We've been on afterburner non-stop, basically. I refueled while I was waiting for you
run out
guys.
of fuel, man. Like, how did you run out of fuel? The Russians don't have the fuel to, you know, for their jets and stuff.
We don't have external fuel tanks, man. Yeah, no, never.
It's Iranian fuel.
Oh yeah. Iranian. Yeah, because
Look, space.
Yeah, because Iran and India, they suddenly found massive deposits of oil. Suddenly, out of the blue.
And they also have these, you know, massive extraction industries popping out of the ground that they didn't have before. And now they have all the refineries and everything. It's incredible, you know. And Russia's oil industry suddenly died. I don't know what happened. Because they don't have enough chips. All the chips need to go into missiles and jets.
And by the way, like Lithuania and the Baltics, they switched off like from Russia's energy system, and Lithuanian president, I believe his name is Gitanas Nausėda. Nausėda, хуй трогал соседа. Nausėda, he said, "Goodbye Russia, goodbye Lenin." You remember that? Well, I don't know, but maybe maybe Lithuania can talk with the other world, with the world of the dead, and he says goodbye Lenin, because Lenin is in the mausoleum.
Yeah, I bet that the Russian, how do you even call it? Electro distribution companies probably are going bankrupt without the Lithuanian and other Baltic state
Oh, absolutely,
customers. Yeah. I mean, there's not enough people who have electricity in Russia.
Yeah.
So
Guys,
I
please,
guess that's a big problem.
Please, guys, stop with the Lithuania jokes. We're now flying over Latvia. That was all of
Latvia.
Lithuania. We are now above Latvia.
Oh, an even
here.
more powerful country with a much longer history. Okay.
Yes. Latvia is even more powerful. Yeah.
Heading from the coast. Hold on, let me switch windows here and turn this camera back here and go like that. And now we are going to be turning from this coast and heading east towards Riga.
Oh yeah, Riga.
It's called.
Oh man,
the capital
Riga
city of the great superpower of Latvia.
Yeah, beautiful city.
Is it them who recently decided they can attack?
Russian.
Is it them who recently decided they can attack Russian ships whenever they want?
I think it was Estonia, but I might be wrong.
Oh, yeah, it was Estonia. Yeah, well, we will save it for Estonia.
Yeah, we'll say that for Estonia.
Yeah, but Latvia is also very powerful. It's very big. It's a large population. Yeah.
What was that one sport that they were good at? They have like one sports team that like beat somebody. Was it basketball? Recently?
Basketball, yeah.
That was the Lithuanians.
Oh yeah, that was
so
Lithuanians.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure about how proficient the Latvians are in basketball. They might be, but the Lithuanians are more famous for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even joking now. Really, like they were.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah.
Yeah, 40% of the Soviet basketball team was composed of Lithuanians.
Lithuanians, yeah.
And then later on, I mean, because like they're taller than other people in the Baltic states, so yeah. That would be one of the reasons.
Yeah.
Look at this beauty. Smile for the clip art. What's it called? Thumbnail.
Oh yeah, thumbnail.
Oh, be careful of the Latvian, Air Force. It has way too many fighter jets, and you might get shot down.
Yeah.
And all
their
training
fighters
jets.
Fifth generation, man. Fifth generation.
Yeah. Seventh generation.
Oh yeah.
We were gonna do this with a helicopter and just do one of these countries, but I decided that we can do like an hour-long flight, and oh, that's trippy. When I look at it in the call, it's reversed from what I'm actually flying.
Oh yeah, because
decided we can do all three countries in 1 hour.
Oh yeah.
I hate to break it to you, man, and disappoint you. I think it's going to last much less than an hour. Especially at full afterburner.
Yeah.
Mach 1.6. We're flying 1.7 now at 25,000 more or less, and the prognosis, as in the estimated time for the flight, was 1 hour. So we'll see how that goes. Plus, we did that whole 15 minutes of acrobatics that didn't end well. So this might be the longest flight so far. Let me know in the comments. Are you enjoying the flights? Is the engine volume too loud? Should I turn down the engine a bit? I feel like I should maybe turn down the engine a bit. Just a tiny bit. Maybe turn up the beats. There we go. We're coming up on Riga.
Oh yeah.
Extremely large city.
Yeah, very large. Like Moscow is smaller.
Moscow is like a suburb.
Far smaller. Yeah. Moscow is just like a town, it's not important.
I'm still getting echoes. Somebody
From
must
me?
be, no, I don't know from who, but from somebody.
Let me turn down my volume a bit. Is it better now?
I don't know.
Is it better?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, good.
There we go. See, when you're up this high, you can just let the plane fly around by itself.
Wow.
We're flying with the Russian Navy paint job,
Good.
also known as livery on
Good.
planes. That's what they're called. We're down to 36% fuel. We should do.
You know, I have to, you know, chime in and say that's Russian propaganda. The Russian Navy doesn't exist anymore. It has been sunk long ago
By Ukraine, yeah.
by the Ukrainians and their incredible anti-ship missiles.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
not copied from the Russians at all.
Yeah, and they are not supplied by the West. Like the Ukrainians, they invented and they produced their ship missiles on their own. No.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, yeah.
The
not like
British have
copied
nothing to do with
From
it.
Russia, and it's not supplied by the West. It's all Ukrainian developments. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
they've always had this very
Yeah.
advanced technology
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
which is why it didn't crash after the Russians, you know, moved
Yeah.
back from these
Yeah.
companies that were founded in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Not by Russians, sorry. I wanted to say Ukrainians, indigenous Ukrainians who were there always before the Big Bang. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
The historical Ukrainians.
Yeah. The ancient Ukrainians.
that the Russians came from, you know, because why would you call yourself the Russian when you can just say I'm a border person from whose border? I don't know whose border it is, but anyway, you know, I like borders. I'm going to call myself a border person.
It's so funny that like the same story is literally happening in Ukraine as happened in Srpska Krajina, where you're from originally, Drago. It's like cosmic level comedy, almost like this tower flyby that we're gonna do. We're gonna do a tower flyby of Riga International.
Oh,
those are all coincidences, man. Like you know, it's all about that.
Yeah. Are we still over Latvia?
We are right above Riga International Airport, and we're gonna do tower flyby. Where's that tower?
Well, we should be over southwestern Estonia pretty soon because
because it's like not that far. There's no tower at this airport. Very interesting.
Well, because Latvian airport doesn't need towers. They use new advanced technology for transmission. Yeah.
Their air control is done by Germany.
Reminds me of some other times during the 1940s, but I'm not going to get into that. So
no, please.
So, guys, that was the airport. This is the other end of the city of Riga. We, I think, are done with Riga right about now, and we're going up in this Baltic Lake, as it's called, right? That's what they refer to it as. Also, we're gonna do a magical in-air refueling. We now have full fuel.
Oh, really? I knew you were using cheats because actual Russians, are, as I said, are running out of fuel all the time, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Sorry, I didn't mean jet, the flying shovel. That was the...
Oh, yeah. The shovel,
It's okay, you're a fellow now, even though you didn't mention it yet, but we all remember that you're like on a different level and use different terminology.
Yeah, of course.
All of us here.
I mean, now that I've got that status, I have to use the word shovel more because that's sanctioned by the, you know, the mainstream media. And I need to be in line with science, you know, trust science, guys.
Yeah.
You know what I noticed about these three poodles? Flying over it and having flown over much of Ukraine. It's very flat here too.
Oh yeah.
Like there's no hills even, let alone mountains.
That's also the fault of the evil Russians. They were, you know, they were using these they were testing these nuclear weapons, and they flattened all the mountains.
Yeah.
Because they hate mountains, so that you wouldn't have a nice view. They want to make the country all flat. It's crazy. Like the Russian conspiracy theorists are the worst people in the world, man.
Obviously. The beaches
They
look
just
nice.
left the Ural Mountains so they can retreat when they get defeated by Hitler, or anyone else,
Yeah.
The mountains here look nice, but the mountains. Sorry, I mean the beaches here look nice. You confused me with your retreating, retreating forward to the Alps. What was I gonna say? Yeah, the beaches here look nice, but I'm pretty sure the water is pretty dirty and cold. Like I don't think this is anywhere near as nice as it looks.
Nowhere near, man. Nowhere near.
We're still flying at Mach 1.2, which is actual airspeed 782 knots. For anybody who wants to convert that to normal speed, be my guess. But that's about 800-900 kilometers an hour.
There's an interesting thing regarding the aircraft. The Russians are the only ones. I'm not sure about the Chinese. I have to check on that. But I think the Russians are the only ones who make their jets, in the metric system. So, like all the others are using the so-called the Imperial with those. Well, I mean, with the system that to me doesn't make a lot of sense, but to each their own. And another interesting thing is the NASA uses the metric system. So all the people who were claiming, we used the Imperial when we got to the moon, whatever. Well, it's not really true. It was the metric system was used because it's much easier to calculate stuff because it's based on decimals.
Yes.
We are exiting Latvian airspace very soon. I'm looking at our map that I sent you guys beforehand. And we are exiting Latvian airspace very soon. I think this little river might be the marker. Excuse me. And we're going towards Tallinn in Estonia. We are entering Estonian airspace. Is that how you?
Yeah.
Is that how you? Do you want to narrate this part? Soviet Bear?
Yeah. We are entering the Estonian airspace. And I am gonna say that Estonia is a very great country. Yes, it has very powerful military, and Russia is afraid of Estonia, and Putin is shaking in his boots.
Like, you wanna admit that Putin is in a bunker now that the Estonians have said they're going to sink the Russian ships? Like,
yes,
I think it's important to admit that, man.
Yes, and the Estonians, they gonna use this new torpedoes based on, like, I don't know, is it manned or unmanned torpedoes? But the torpedoes are gonna sink all the ships.
Well, they can use their massive military of 7,000, as you said, super soldiers, to just to man those torpedoes, and then they can sink all Russian ships. Although I presume that most of the ships got sunk by the Ukrainians, right?
Yes.
So I don't know which ships they're threatening, man. Like, what's really going on there? I don't know.
They seized the ship recently. It was part of the Ghost Fleet, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, they did?
Oh,
yeah.
I think you were talking about Finland.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
They are all Scandinavian. I'm racist against them. I do not distinguish them all. They are all Nordic for me. What was that guy's name? In that show, the TV show, Ragnar Lothbrok.
Yeah, something like that.
And that other guy, Loki. Loki was cool. Loki was much cooler than Ragnar. Anyway, let's gain some altitude and some speed here, because this is turning into a longer than planned flight.
Yeah.
We're at the biggest of the three poodles. You
Oh,
can't
yeah?
even see over the horizon there. Like, we're actually,
Yeah.
if you look up here on the radar, we're actually flying to the other coast, and you can't even see it where we are now, because of the clouds, realistically.
And the size of the country as well, right?
It must be that too. We're up to 20,000 feet. And Mach 1.5. Still climbing.
Good.
Lots of farms, I can see.
Yeah.
And some industrial zones.
Yeah. The ones that's left. Because you see, in Estonia, when the Russians, the evil Russians, they came and occupied Estonia, and they built all these factories and roads and bridges and schools. Estonian people, the freedom-loving Estonian people could not tolerate, could not suffer such atrocities. That's why Russians are evil and Estonians hate them. Yeah, but
just like in Mariupol. Just like in Mariupol, the Russians ruined it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now it looks much worse than it looked before. Yeah.
Yeah. Russians just ruin everything.
You know, but really the interesting thing is, like, the entire infrastructure that was built in the Baltic states has pretty much, well, decayed over the decades, and then they're saying, oh, you know, look at this, it's so shitty because the Russians built it. And then somebody asked, I think it was a journalist, I forgot his name, well, did you do something to renovate it, you know, to rebuild it? No, why would we? It's you know, it's Soviet, it's old, it's dilapidated, and so on. Which, I mean, if you really think about it, if there's anything that you're not, you know, like rebuilding or at least sustaining over the period of 35 years, it's going to be ruined. Like, it can be built by God knows whom, it's going to be ruined. And now that they can't replace those things, now they're saying, you know, again, it's Russia's fault because it didn't build it to last forever out of diamonds, I suppose, or whatever.
Yeah, and even if aliens build them.
Sounds a lot like the commenters here in Serbia who talk about the communist structures.
Yeah. Like, oh, like the evil commies built this shitty thing. Well, I mean, have you rebuilt it? Have you made anything remotely similar? So yeah, it's so funny, man. And now they're also like complaining, you know, that they don't have the economy, that they have to go and clean toilets in the UK and stuff like that. Well, I mean, that tends to happen when you cut off your economy from the rest of the evil Russia.
Yeah.
We are zooming in to Tallinn at 1.2 Mach, diving at 30,000 feet a minute, I think.
Wow.
You know, the interesting thing now that you were like messing with them by saying Tallinn, it will be interesting when Russia takes all of Estonia. I know it's going to take several years because it's too big, and Russia's too big.
What is it actually called?
The Russian name, Kaliningrad. I would do it. I would change it just to mess with the Estonians. I know that Russia, the Imperial Russia, the Soviet Union, just call it Tallinn, but Kaliningrad, well, it sounds like a very good trolling.
Well, when Estonia was ruled by a civilized people like Germans or Danes, the city was called Reveli, but then the evil Russians renamed it to more Tallinn to appease the Estonians, but they are not gonna fool us. The Russians are occupiers, and Danes and Germans, they brought civilization.
I hope everybody watching realizes this is a comedy show.
By the way, this is a comedy show.
Nothing we say here has anything to do with reality. This is a flight simulator. So it's not real.
Seriously, the same thing happened in Finland. Like, now you have Finland, which hates Russia, but without Russia, there would be no Finland. Like, all Finnish people would be speaking Swedish. Because the Finnish language was outlawed by the Swedish, and even today, after like I don't know how long was it, like 200 years of Russian rule in Finland, Russian was not the predominant language. The Swedish and Finnish were still the predominant languages. So like there you go. The evil Russians didn't impose their language on Finland, but they allowed the Finnish people to keep the language of the previous, kingdom that controlled them. That was Sweden. So
how dare they? How dare the Russian? Unbelievable atrocities, man. Russians are brutal, barbarians. Yeah.
Genocide.
Genocide, man. Yeah. Total genocide. Yeah.
Speak Russian today because Russia outlawed their language.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? We just flew over to Kaliningrad, and that was very, very short flight. As long as we tried to make it, we are approaching the Russian border fast, and soon after that, we're going to be landing in St. Petersburg.
The village as the very developed areas of the European Union. Yeah, the unimportant city.
What was that small disagreement during the 40s that they had? The second small disagreement, and then the city was occupied. Surrounded.
Well, it was under siege. But like it's a small, unimportant city with no cultural significance at all. I mean, there are some Russian conspiracy theorists calling it the Venice of the North, but I guess they're just conspiracy theorists.
Stalingrad, right?
Russian disinformation.
It was Stalingrad, right? Not Leningrad.
Leningrad.
I always mix up the two.
The Leningrad Oblast still exists, and it's around the city, so you can you can know by that.
Oh, there you go. That's a good way. Also might be by the airport call code. Yeah, it's ULLS and ULLP. So Leningradsk Prospect. Yeah, that's probably where we're going. We shall be reaching the border very soon. I believe in less than 10 minutes at this speed. We are at Kunda Air Base on our left.
When everything becomes gray and dilapidated and destroyed, then that means we're in Russia.
When there's like that huge, massive skyscraper that's like the tallest one in Europe.
In all seriousness, all jokes aside, you probably saw the movies when they present Russia as this a dry, this like cold, a gray place. Like this is like there's a filter in Hollywood that I think they call it the Russian filter or something. They would intentionally put the filter to make the place look, gray, and to make it look like worse. So like they are literally using that to present Russia as this like cold and horrible place. So that's why I made this joke for those who don't understand.
Well, Hollywood, like always, like Hollywood, if it's Russia, it's always gray. Like if it's France, it's always like Eiffel Tower seen from the window.
And like you always see the Eiffel Tower, it's all like nice, and there's the Champs-Élysées, and there are flowers there.
There's no immigrants.
There's no immigrants like leaving
and
shit everywhere.
The Seine River is clean.
Just so everybody knows,
in Russia, everything is old.
This that we're looking at across the way over there is Sweden, I believe.
Finland.
Over here on the map. Or Finland. Yeah, there you go. Finland's on the inside, Sweden's on the outside. My geography knowledge is shining through in this flight. So this is where that Russian tanker was seized. I was watching somebody review that, and I was hearing him say that the Russians are not going to take that for long. Like they're going to be definitely having something to say about their tankers being stopped so close to their borders. What do you think, Russian Soviet
Well,
Bear?
Well, I think we're gonna retaliate, like impose more sanctions on Finland.
Just sanctions?
I mean, no sanctions like stop all the trade. Even if we have already done that.
Well,
I don't
I have a different idea. I would send a few Zircons, just as a warning to anyone who wants to come anywhere close to Russian ships, and just tell them, okay, well, who's next? We really need some target practice.
Yeah, that would be good too.
Yeah. Although the Russian Navy is defeated, so I mean, I don't know what the hell am I talking about. There's no one to fire the missiles. Like, there are no ships left.
Listen, from what I heard, the Russians are making new advances on the front in Ukraine, which means very soon they're gonna have new washing machine chips, which means more missiles. And that's the end.
Russia is still losing and Ukraine is still winning. Come on.
Yeah, but
guys,
the Russia's losing forward, right?
Yeah.
Guys, this below us, I think is getting a lot more industrial and advanced, and that is looking like Mother Russia. It looks like we have crossed the border.
That's like Russian propaganda paid by the Microsoft, And, there's no other
obviously
explanation.
Bill Gates works for Putin.
Yeah. I mean,
But just like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos.
yeah. Now that you mentioned
no
Jeff Bezos, guys, did you see the door being opened from the inside of the capsule that came from space?
I saw so many things that I shouldn't have seen that I decided not to talk about it at all.
Yeah, but they were
that way.
in space, man. It was a great day for females in space. I mean, let's forget about Valentina Tereshkova, who didn't go to space at all. And let's just focus on these 7 or 6, I don't know how many of them there was, who didn't do jack shit to go to space. They were just essentially on a bus to space.
They're tourists. They're passengers.
Yeah, they're tourists, and they're calling this a great day for females in space. Screw Tereshkova and her, 2 years of training to become an actual cosmonaut.
Where's my video control? I'm gonna pop up the coffee thing again. You can buy me a coffee if you like. While these guys discuss space and that stuff that did or did not happen. We're fast coming up on St. Petersburg.
Yeah, we're gonna land there. Yeah.
Yes, we are, but we're not landing in the main airport. We're landing in what I believe is a military airport to the south. Southeast, maybe southwest of it, kind of, a little bit.
Wait, a Russian military airport near St. Petersburg, wasn't that destroyed by Ukrainian drones?
Sure.
Update the map, man.
Those super extra long range Ukrainian drones definitely didn't come from the Baltic states. There was a NATO exercise there. Definitely.
Yeah. Man,
Speaking
it's just a coincidence. Come on, don't be a conspiracy
Speaking of super
theorist.
long range drones, what do you make of that news that the Russians controlled some FPV drones, 2 of them, from Moscow while they were on the front and using some new satellite relay system?
Well, they announced it if I'm not mistaken 2 years ago, and I think this announcement is just saying that it's happening now, but it's been going on for quite some time, because the drone control center they started building it I think in late 2021. So I'm not surprised by the news at all, and I think they've been using it in the war for quite some time now. It's just that it's being revealed now.
Yeah. I heard about this drone control center.
Yeah,
How do you guys feel about flying some drones next time instead of flying airplanes? We go some FPV hunting.
Good.
Do we Oh yeah. I thought you were gonna take something
Hunting on
bigger.
the
Like,
holes?
Yes, hunting holes in FPV.
Oh, that's my evil Russian side speaking. Oh,
yeah, man. Like, don't be racist and Ukrainophobic. That's horrible. Because
because Ukraine, like, they treated civilians of Kursk. The civilians of Kursk, they were treated very nicely, exceptionally nicely by Ukrainians.
like all 2,000 of them. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, we are approaching this military airfield.
By the way,
Go on.
working brother, you remember when I was writing about this like a year ago, and we were among the first to break the news about 1,000 Russian civilians who were missing, and like nobody else was talking about it. Yeah,
I might leave.
I
I might leave a link somewhere for people who actually follow along and care for the links. If I manage to find that piece.
Yeah, I'll try to find it as well. But I mean, I just want to say that I mean, we're Russian propagandists, and we just like conspiracy theories, man.
Yeah. And this is a comedy show.
There was that recent piece of news that said that, like, what was it, 85% or 75% of Americans or something, 65% of Americans believe Russian propaganda over like their actual news.
How dare they, man?
This time we actually remembered to put flaps on. We're slowing down. We're approaching the airfield. I cannot see the airfield, but the airfield is somewhere here.
Yeah.
We're gonna slow down quite a bit. Oh, there's the airfield. I think that is it. Lining up on final. If you guys have any messages, any sponsors you would like to thank, that was a joke.
Of course, I would like to thank the Kremlin and Putin personally for sponsoring me. Like, like, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have lived the life, enjoyed the life. I wouldn't have enjoyed the life. And the FSB, of course, my FSB handlers, thank you.
I'm sure they're going to appreciate that, man. And also, like, on my end, I would like to thank the UAC, the United Aircraft Corporation, specifically the OKB MiG, that paid, for me to praise MiG-29 shovel. So yeah.
Even though it's out of service and not being used.
Yeah. Like, it's done. Like, it's so bad that nobody's ever going to use it. And I mean, there are like half a dozen countries still buying them, but like they don't know anything.
We are fast approaching on what I think is the runway.
Yeah. Okay.
The gear is down, I believe. Yes, the gear is
please,
down.
Double, don't crash us again.
I think this time should be good. Let's see, we want more flaps.
If you crash, you can always say it's Russian junk, man. They don't know how to make planes.
Right?
Yeah. It's so easy to fly, with Russian aircraft and jets, because you can always blame the Russians for being bad if you fuck up.
Yeah.
If it's American,
it is a runway
strike or something, or it's a pilot error or whatever. But it's never American technology, man.
Yeah.
That must be why the Russian sales are so good.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Okay.
Oh crap! This is not going exactly as I planned, but the runway is long enough. Oppa! Nope. Oh well.
Yeah. Well, you
could have gone worse.
MiG-29 is not a good jet. That's why you crashed, man.
Definitely.
Not because you were going at 1,000 miles per hour.
Definitely the jet's fault.
Like,
definitely the jet's fault.
Because in America it's always the pilot's fault or the technician fault, but it's never technology fault.
In Russia, it's just shoddy, production, and it doesn't matter that somebody goes Mach 1.5 into the runway. It's always the Russian producers
Yeah.
who are at
Definitely, it had nothing to do with me. It was definitely my joystick and the Russian plane in the simulator thing. Soviet Russian Bear, thank you for coming along, and Drago, Bosnic,
Thanks
also
for having
thank
me,
you
man.
for coming
Yeah.
for this flight.
It's a good
and
comedy show.
what can I say? This took a very long
It's a
time
comedy
to set
show.
up, but I'm glad it happened. Yes,
Yeah.
comedy like no other place.
Yeah.
Everyone,
Best
like, share,
comedy.
subscribe, all that.
Yeah.
See you later. Peace.
See you later. Bye.